This is our Wednesday night channeling, number 135. In this class tonight, we shouldn't be numbering them, but you'll see what I mean. It's called eternity. Eternity has no beginning and no end. Eternity lives in the here and now. You will find it no other place, no other time. You are an eternal being. You exist only in the present moment. No other place, no other time. Thinking of yourself as a living eternal being that has no time or place, but the now, changes your experience of life and yourself. You have no stories to tell because the only experience is happening now. You have no thoughts of what will be, for it is now. You grow old because you are trying to hang on to the illusions you call the past and fail to be your true self. You lose the only reality you have, the present nowness, eternity. You are nervous, dissatisfied, and unfulfilled by thinking of the future, another illusion that brings the fears called worry, anxiety, and doubt. These illusions exist only through the energy of thought that you give them. Having to deal with these phantoms that continue from repetition called habit in your madness of continuous recall, you create an outward expression of the delusions that you call the physical body, an extension of this game you play called time and space or duality. To escape the clutches of the madness of duality, follow the example of the Creator by releasing the illusions of time and space, by spending the eternal moment creating something new, by remembering and retelling your pain. You keep it with you in the present moment. As you experience the light and shadow through your window with the sun makes this, shining through the tree, makes shadows are shining through the tree in your yard. You have the experience of beauty, for you are living it now. The same with the beautiful sunset or the Grand Canyon. When you label it beautiful, good, or fulfilling, it is because you experience it in the eternity, the now. Perhaps the greatest example that you may label unworthy for this discourse is your experience of physical lovemaking. When you keep your attention on the now of the pleasure you are receiving, the pleasure grows. But if your mind wanders from the present moment and what you are doing, the pleasure decreases. If your attention continues away from the moment, the pleasure may cease to exist. This example is the same with your life. If you hold your thought in the moment, no matter what you experience joy, elation, or bringing it down to your physical terminology, happiness. Remember, consciously living in the present, it could become a habit and bring you much pleasure and happiness that leads to the bliss consciousness. Greater understanding and wisdom come when we turn loose of the past understanding and embrace the present enlightenment as it flows through your now, allowing yourself to consciously live eternity, creating new experiences that foster exciting new adventures in the experience we call life. Let's have a quiet time before we make our contact, and let us think of this circle of light as merging in, your light merging into each one else's light, and spreading out to those who are here from the other dimensions. And let us include them in our circle of light, our teachers and guides, those who have come to learn as we are learning. And let this circle of light extend as a channel that moves higher in vibration to those beautiful beings of light that bring us their wisdom, their understanding, and their love. Thank you, Father. Good evening, my dear ones. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you and see your lights shining brightly. Allow yourself to lift your thoughts upward and hold your attention on the beauty of life. This class tonight gives you pause for thought, and we noticed your thoughts as the reading came through. It was a surprise to one who has not been to class on the phone talking to Donald that he knew what the title would be this evening. And Donald explained to him that he starts the writing and making the contact ahead of time. And I feel that this is a good thing for Donald as a channel to get the contact going. He started it earlier this morning, and so it has been with him all day. As you listen to this tape, the ones who get the tape, think on this and let it sink in to your consciousness, for it is one of the most important things for you to attain on this physical plane, is living in the present moment. It is very important to learn to do this, for it is true that you will not be able to move upward from this plane until you can embrace the reality of eternity, the present moment, the eternal now. To live in the now is to experience the whole of life. To live in the present moment is to be free of the past and the future that plagues you in your thoughts. It is just a conditioning process that has brought this concept of duality about. And of course, you took this on when you came down into these lower dimensions from the planes that was one with God. It was not a fall from grace in the truest sense. It was an experience that you wanted to have. And it has been a long experience for some of you, but in true reality there is no time, so there is no hurry. There is no need to be concerned about when you will be free. When is talking about time, is it not? It is interwoven in your language so much that it is difficult to speak to you in the truest sense outside of your concepts of duality. When you worry about the past, when you are concerned about the future, you hold yourself in a rut that keeps you to the lower dimensions. Remember that you only have the present. That is all there is, but it is everything. When you are free from thoughts of the past or the future, then you are free from these lower dimensions. You have to be free on a continuous basis, because if you revert back to thinking of the past or the future, then you are not free. You are free maybe for a few minutes, and this is good to have an experience of a few minutes of living in the present nowness of eternity. To many of you, this is difficult to comprehend because it has been so ingrained in your consciousness throughout many, many centuries, many, many lifetimes. And your language is what you think with, and so it is interwoven in your language. And you have to think of a new way of speaking, a new way of thinking, to be free of the illusions of time, past, and future. When you are listening to this discourse right now, you are listening to it in the moment. And if your attention does not wander from the words that are being said, you are living in the present. You are living in the here and now. Many times, students who go to your public schools, the teacher speaks and their mind is someplace else. They hear not the lesson, and so they make a poor grade. And it is true with your life. When you go about your day doing what you do and thinking and wondering about the past, maybe feeling guilty or some other negative thought, worry and concern about the future, you are not living. You are not living. because living is living in the eternity, in the present moment. Of course, you are not dead, as the saying goes, but you have departed from the reality of your being. The reality of your being is living in the eternal nowness called eternity. Very few on your plane know what this word eternity really means. Very few even want to know, because they are so conditioned to live the physical plane in worry and concern about the past and future, and going about rushing here and there and not living as life is intended to be lived, but living in madness. This may be an extension of thinking using this word madness, but my dear ones, if you could but glimpse a small time of living in the eternal now and have a glimpse of the higher dimensions, you would see that madness is not too strong a word. It is a departure from the reality of life. It is what you want to learn and intertwine into your consciousness so that you can be free of these lower dimensions. And even if you still live on the lower dimensions, you do not have to be caught up in this madness of hurry and scurry, trying to make more money to find the happiness that you seek by reaching out for it, not remembering or not knowing that you have to reach within. Within is eternity. Within is the reality of life. As you learn to understand this, as you learn to practice it, and I do encourage you to practice living in the present. When you catch yourself walking rapidly or fussing about what you have to do, stop. Make yourself stop. Take a deep breath and walk slowly and enjoy the moment. I tell you truly, no matter what you are doing, if you live in the moment, you can do it with joy. It is a wonderful experience to be free, and until you can live in the present moment, you are not free. When you continue to think negative thoughts that are always concerned with the past or the future, fear thoughts, then they cloud your thinking, they cloud your mind, and the work that you do is not as good as it could be. The things that you do, your social life, your recreation, could be so much more by learning to live this present moment. Some of your sports, the ones who do it, have to live in the moment because they're called upon to think only right now what they are doing. For example, if you play ping pong and your mind wanders, you're going to miss the ball. But you have to continually keep your thoughts in the present. And this is another example. It is a beautiful example to look at a beautiful painting and experience the beauty of it. And when you do experience it, you are living in the eternal now. When you hear the music that fills your being, the music that you like and enjoy, and really listen to it, sit down and listen to it, you are living in the moment. When you listen to it as you're doing other things, this is all right, but you are not getting the full measure of the ecstasy that could be brought to you through this experience. I tell you, my dear ones, whatever level that you are living at, it determines on how you hear things, how you experience things, how you see things. When you are at a low level, everything looks dull and gray, and you are unfulfilled. When you are on a high, as you call it, you are living at a much higher rate of vibration, and you see things, you see the beautiful sunset. When before, if you were low, you don't even look. You see the beauty in the flowers, in the trees, in the clouds. Or if you are at a low ebb, they're there, but you don't really see them as they truly are in the reality of life. There is much to learn and garner from this lesson tonight. There is much to convey to you, but it is difficult to convey it in your language because it is continuously bringing you back to the duality concept. Let us stop for a little while and see if we can extract some questions from you and bring this class up a little bit through your questions and the answers that may come. Are there questions here tonight?
I have a question.
Yes.
How does, if you, let's say you have a family and one person is living in it now and another person is, how did that affect the whole and each other? How do you affect each other?
You are dealing with only yourself, and you have been told this, that your experience is within you, not anyone else. It started in your classes when we said to you that all suggestions are self-suggestions, because if you do not accept it, it is not a suggestion to you. So if someone else is not in harmony, then it does not matter, but it matters how you react to it, doesn't it? And it is the same thing. It goes back to the basics so much. And when you can be in tune with yourself and in harmony with the life around you, no matter what it appears to be. As the Master said, judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous means the right useness of the law, with a capital L, the eternal law, the real truth. And the real truth is that your life is between you and God and no one else. It appears to be intermingled with others, but in true reality, it is just your concept of others, or your reaction, your response to what is happening around you, and that happens inside of you. Now, this is another way of talking about living in eternity. For if you allow outward conditions to disturb you, then you are not living truly. You are living, but you are living in illusion. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you very much.
Are there other questions this evening? On your plane, my dear ones, relationships are a very important thing to consider and think of, because it is how you relate to yourself that you relate to others. It is what level of consciousness that you are experiencing within yourself that determines how you think of others and life around you. It is not what is happening around you that may make you unhappy or disturb you, but your own judgment about it. And that is within you. So you see, eternity is within you. It is how you experience life. From your past conditioning of many lifetimes, you have been programmed to think of time and space, for your sun seems to set and rise in the morning, and you have allowed this one thing to program you into thinking in the terms of time. And where there's time, there is space. Where there is space, there is time. They go together. They are the duality concepts. Good and evil is another duality concept. A thing is only good because you label it good. A thing is only evil or bad or whatever label you want to put on it because you have labeled it that. And for one, what is good may be evil to another. It is your concept, it is your programming, your conditioning that you're living through. And until you take yourself in hand and clear out the negative, untrue programming that you have been conditioned with, you will not be free of these lower dimensions in the concept of duality. The concept of duality holds you to these lower dimensions. It holds you to unhappiness, worry and doubt, and all the other negatives. When you release this concept of duality, and it is in many, many things, then you can find your real self. All of you are searching for yourself. All of you are searching for the God that lives within you. And when you find that God that lives within you, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free of the concepts of duality, and you will be able to live in the here and now, the present moment, the eternal now. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
In classes with Don, we learn to find out our balance. Our balance means not only the spiritual feelings, but it means the physical and the mind all together, but it's only the spiritual balance.
What is the question?
The question is, we should take the care of our physical, like now, with the new age, the people start to do the exercise and diet and everything. They waste a time in this, or it is necessary to do all this, take care of yourself.
You should maintain your body in a healthy way, but you should not spend all of your time on your body. It is easy to do this because you have to work 8 hours a day to feed your body and to clothe it, and then you need to exercise it, and you need to sleep 8 hours, and so on. So it is easy to be caught up in the physical life only and fail to think of the reality of life that is spiritual. I tell you truly that your physical life is illusion. Now you have chosen to come and to incarnate in a physical shell, but that does not mean that you have to let it dominate you. You should dominate yourself and your life and your world, your universe. You should be the master. When you do not take conscious control of your life and yourself, you automatically revert back to the old conditioning or the way the world thinks and let it take over your thinking for you. Does this help your understanding?
I think so. Thank you.
Yes. It is a fine line between taking care of your physical responsibilities and feeding your soul. You see, when your spiritual self is not fed with the real truth, as you are doing at this moment by coming to class and learning new things of the Spirit, then it is starving. And this automatically, you reach out for something to fulfill yourself when you should be reaching within. The reaching out for this something will never fully satisfy you or fulfill you. But when you reach within and find yourself, the true spiritual being that you are, and understand what spirituality truly is, then it frees you from the lower dimensions and gives you the understanding of what life is intended to be. On the physical plane, it is just a play on a stage, and it is no more real than when you go to a play or you go to a movie and you are entertained by this. This is what you have done. You have incarnated and agreed to be in the body for a certain length of time to experience what it is like. But in doing this, over and over, you have forgotten who you truly are, and you have lost yourself in a sense. And this is why these classes and many others like it all over the world and all over the universe is held to help you to awaken to the true reality of your being, help you to understand who you are. When you are dissatisfied, when you are hungry, physically hungry, it is not this that you need, for most of you have plenty to eat, and maybe more than you should, but it is a hunger for the truth, the eternal truth. It is a hunger for learning to live in the present moment and reaching in to the reality of life. By continually thinking about your past or your future, you will not find the inner reality. For the past and the future is of the physical, and the inner reality is in the present moment, within yourself, not your physical body, but within your spirit, your soul. This is where God lives, within you. Are there other questions this evening?
As I understand things, that every relationship means to become whole. It's true. That's my first.
And let us see what you think of this word holy and what it means.
Godlike, or, and I understand things that people are just a perception of who you are. You know what I mean? My reality is anything I perceive it to be. But if I'm supposed to have a relationship with anybody I meet or anyone I will have in the future, it needs to be on common grounds or holy ground or godlike ground. And explain that fairly clearly.
And your relationship with another determines on the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you feel. Feelings, moods, attitudes, desires, all come under the heading of thought. And whatever you think of this individual is outwardly expressed unless you are deceiving them. And when you think loving thoughts about them and express these loving thoughts in a loving way, then you are relating to them in a way that is more true to the reality of life. A relationship on the physical plane is very difficult to be completely spiritual, for it is two bodies coming together, and each of you have had different experiences in the past. Each of you have different meanings for words that you speak to each other. And so to have a holy relationship, as you have used this word, it would mean to be able to relate on many dimensions at the same time. The physical, the emotional, the astral, the mental, and the spiritual. All of these are different dimensions. And when you can bring them all together, then you can have the relationship that is fulfilling, and it can build as it moves through your concept of time. Does this help your understanding?
If I am unresolved with this individual, and that it eventually will have to resolve itself, Is it just patience? They just keep extending love.
Would you repeat all this? Speak a little bit louder.
Well, eventually, any relationship will eventually become holy. I mean, when we talk about loving and caring, will it all lead to be, every person I meet, will it all become a fully loving relationship? Is this destiny between every person?
The relationship with another being happens within you. It does not, your part of the relationship does not happen within the other individual. But your experience of the relationship happens within your consciousness and really has very little to do with the other. This sounds evasive, but it is not. The thoughts that you think, the feelings that you feel are within you. The love that you feel is within you. And so it is not that you have to have this perfect relationship with this individual, but it is that you need to change your consciousness and raise it to a higher level to understand the reality of life. And if you have not understood it in one particular relationship or in one particular life, you can come back again with someone else that is like this other individual, that will push the same buttons, you might say. It does not have to be the same individual. Oftentimes it is, but suppose the other individual has received enlightenment and has grown into a master. You see, they are having their experience, and you need to clear up your misunderstandings. And so the lords of karma and the God within you will bring you in contact. You will attract another individual to relate to that was similar to that other time. And here we are using the duality words in that other experience, we should say. Is this what you mean?
Thank you very much.
Yes. When we start growing in understanding and receiving the light of understanding, it is sometimes a slow process because of the misinterpretation of words, because of the misinterpretation of the truth, the eternal truth. And maybe we think we have it, and then it doesn't come clear. And so we have to do it over again until we do understand it, until we bring it up into the light and can receive the understanding from divine light. And this all dwells within you. You do not have to go outside yourself for anything that you need. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, if you have disharmony with someone and you've forgiven yourself and you've forgiven in situation, then do you need to acknowledge that person and try to make peace with them in the physical, if you are okay with it within yourself?
It is not necessary to do this unless the other individual is plaguing you, then you have to deal with it. But if you have truly released the other individual and have made peace within yourself about the relationship and have grown through the relationship, through understanding, then it is not necessary to make contact with the other individual. But it is important that you take a look at your relationships and be aware of the real truth of the experiences that you had in that relationship, and see, by raising your consciousness and looking through the eyes of the higher self within you, or the God within you, then you will be able to see and understand where you fail to measure up. You do not concentrate on where they fail to measure up. You only think of where you may have come up short of treating that experience in love, with divine love. Does this help your understanding? Relationships are very important because each individual that you come in contact with can be a mirror for you, and you can see yourself within that individual. But this still is all happening within you. And the things that you get upset with and disturbed with others, you can be sure and certain that you have the same problems, the same misconceptions, should we say, even though you may not see them within yourself. When you are emotionally disturbed, you have the same as the other individual has that is disturbing you. This is not easy to accept at times because we detest or we do not like what we see. But I tell you truly, you are looking at yourself. When you see another individual that is coming up short of living the law or the spiritual life and have no reaction to it, or ripples, whatever you want to call it, then maybe you do not have that. But when you do react to it in a negative emotional way, then you can be sure that you should look within yourself and release the other individual to do whatever they deem to do and to grow when they decide to grow. It is difficult when we are close to someone and have a feeling for them. We want them to have the best in life. We want them to have sometimes the same experiences that we are having, but we must realize that everyone is a different individual coming from a different place in consciousness, and we should respect this and give them the freedom to be as they are. Then we can be free of our negative reactions and continue to grow within ourselves. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, I have a question. This might sound silly, but all this week, every time when I stand at times by myself, like meditating or, curious that I'm by myself, I have this quiet, quality around. Is that a manifestation of my consciousness? And I've tried to, do everything, but I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
As we would call that a past, would we not?
Yes.
And you see, that is a call of attention that you are disturbed in some way within yourself. And that is coming, that past is a past in its nature. And so it is attracted to something like itself. This may seem like a slap in your face, but it is not intended to be. Let us say that you have 10 people in a room, and a fly is buzzing around or some insect. It usually goes to 1 or 2 people, and the others are not disturbed by it. Have you noticed this?
Yes.
And so this is what it is. Like attracts like. And this past is fulfilling its purpose by calling your attention to your thinking, your feeling, your moods, your attitudes that should be changed, that could be changed if you decide to. Does this help your understanding?
Well, yeah, somewhat, but I've been feeling good all the time, so I'm surrounded. Maybe I'm not feeling as good as I should be, or I don't know.
Well, maybe it is feeling good too. And you should give it the freedom to be in its right place. Everything is always, and everyone is always in their right place. But when an insect comes into your home, we think of it as being out of place, do we not? And they have the life force of God just as much as we do. Now we spray and we kill them and try to rid ourselves of them, but they are life, just as we are life. And in the true sense of reality, when you are truly in harmony with yourself, there will be no disharmony with any other part of life.
Then we should help the pests keep their own life instead of killing them.
I will not answer that for you. You will have to answer that within yourself. I am just talking about you and your inner consciousness. When you are not at harmony with any other part of life, you are not at harmony within yourself. And you should look within yourself instead of the outer and bring your consciousness up. Do something like meditate or some exercise that helps you to raise your consciousness instead of concentrating on the outer disturbance. For it is the disturbance within you that has attracted the outer disturbance. This may be difficult to see at times, but it is truth. Are there other questions this evening?
I see the current state of affairs of the planet, and I wonder where it's heading and how to position myself in relationship to what's taking place.
Yes. Let us think about life as one. There's only one life in the whole of the universe, in the whole of existence. You and the planet are one, and many others are one with the planet. And the collective consciousness of the individuals who live on the planet determines a great deal of where the planet goes and how it is. For example, we have polluted the planet and treated it very badly. And we have what we call acid rain in places where it was not done, but it travels all over. Your planet is in the stage of acceleration, and it is in this new age, in the stage of being Christed, you might say. A planet is an entity, just as you are an entity. And you are one with all life, so you are one with the planet. And it is how you treat the planet, it is how you treat yourself that determines where the planet is going and where you are going and your relationship with the planet. Many others have relationship with this planet. In truth, about 20 billion. I think you have 4 or 5 billion in the physical, but there are 4 to 5 times as many in between incarnations waiting to come into the physical, not especially waiting, but experiencing the other dimensions, and will, in their own time, come back into the physical to learn more. But in this new age, it is a different experience than this planet has had before, since it has been formed.
We will be continuously learning even on the other stages and dimensions of life, will we not?
This is true, but it is easier to have experiences that bring about the opportunity for learning in the physical, for everything is too easy for you on the higher dimensions, in between incarnations. But the planet is being raised up into a self-illuminating star, our sun, and will no longer the entities who have negative thoughts continuously, those who commit crimes and so forth, will not, their vibrations will not be high enough to reincarnate, and they will have to reincarnate on another planet similar to what this planet has been. And in this new age, the planet will move up into this very high consciousness. And if you choose to do and go along with it by raising your consciousness, you can have a tremendous experience and gain your spiritual growth greatly.
I've been thinking of this people who are cremated, and then I was thinking of that in relation to bringing your body along with you. What we're thinking of is not the physical body. When we say we're going to bring it up with this, isn't it isn't that body a God that has been within the physical itself?
The physical is no more related to you than the automobile that you ride in or drive.
It's what when you go forward and supposedly spiritualize your body. That is spiritualizing your idea of that has been moving through the cells of the body, is it not?
If you remember the reading about the physical body, it related it to illusion. And if you do spiritualize your body and raise it up, then you have risen above this, and your physical body is no longer as it was.
Well, and the fact is if you're cremated, you're doing as much. It's just as good as if you weren't cremated.
The cremation has nothing to do with it, my dear. No more than if your automobile was wrecked and totaled.
It's your consciousness, yeah?
That is correct. That's where you live, is in your consciousness. Your physical body is a vehicle that you are using while you are on this physical plane temporarily. And if you wreck your physical body and you go through the experience you call death, then you get
I meant that as part of the maintenance also.
Yes. Your level of consciousness is continually, the vibrations from your consciousness is continually projected into your life, your inner life and your outer life, when you're in the physical. And it affects everything. And if people are open, it affects them also. Are there other questions this evening?
When people do something like kicking a car, for example, they don't realize that they're out of order.
This is anger within themselves, and they're projecting it outwardly and trying to be free of it. If they could understand why they are angry and receive enlightenment to correct the thoughts that have made them angry, then they would be free in the sense of eternity.
They were just projecting it from out on that car, what they were feeling for themselves.
Yes, and this is a waste of time, as you say. It is trying to get them out, but it is not the permanent solution. It may be something temporarily that they will be free of.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The outward world, everything in it can be used as a mirror. Your car, your house, other people's houses, the pollution, everything in the outward world can be a mirror for you. And it is how you react to it, is how you think about it, that determines whether it affects you or not. It comes back to the statement that the Master made, resist not evil, but overcome evil with good. And when you're resisting your automobile by kicking it, then it is the same thing as resisting evil. Evil can be termed as anything that goes against life or that disturbs you.
It's just your concept, isn't it?
Yes. It is just a concept. There's no such thing as good or evil. But you have been programmed to think of it as such. And so you go round and round inside yourself with the pain and pleasure cycle that we talked about last week. And you are stuck on this record that is stuck in the same rut until you receive the enlightenment and embrace it and bring it into your consciousness.
These people that are talking evil, like ministers who are wrangling a congregation about their evilness, they're just planting seeds of more evil so that they'll have to reach down the line, are they not?
Yes, but they are in their correct place. They are in their right place. Everyone has to learn at their own pace, and we cannot expect the first and second grader to do sixth and eighth grade work. We accept others as they are and love them as they are because they are an outward expression of God. In fact, they are God, but they are learning and growing as you are, and we give them freedom to learn and grow in their own time. And when we can do this without resisting, then we are free of anything that they do, are free of the concept of what they're doing that could make us angry and disturbed. I've said this many times this evening.
So we would give more freedom to our children because we're trying that sense, we're trying always to teach them what is the best for them. If we understood it right, that they have the right to choose there in all life, and we like to give them more freedom to them.
You are responsible for your children until they become of age. When they become of age, then you should free them to be their adult self instead of continuing to be concerned about them, just as the bird, when the baby bird is at the right time, they make them leave the nest and learn to fly, and they teach them to feed themselves. And then most of the species will not allow them to live in the same neighborhood, the same place. They have to find their own place. This is a good example.
Lots of grown-ups never leave the nest.
This is a concept, and you see, we should not look at things in this way because we're judging. And when we judge, then you are sending a thought to these grown-ups and holding them to the place that,
I'm sorry.
yes, if they are open for it. But if they know the truth, then they are not open for it. This has been an interesting lesson for you this evening and for us. And there are many on this side of the veil whose lights of thought have varied, and it is interesting to see your thoughts and your feelings about it. But on this side of the veil, they send thoughts to their teachers and the ones that are helping them about the class that we are having. And this is instructive to them. Always send love to the invisibles around you, those who are on other dimensions, and your teachers and your guides, to all those who are in darkness, to all those who are stuck in ruts. God's love is all-powerful and all-wise and knows what to do. Be a channel for this divine love. And as it goes through you, it helps you with the things that you need to understand. I will leave you now in this way, but remember that we are always with you in spirit. You are never alone, and we look out for you when you will allow it. But you have the freedom that God has given you, and we cannot interfere with this. But when you send love to us and ask for help in your mind, then it is always there if you listen. God bless you, each one, and good evening.
Let us faith of coming together in the physical as well as Him in spirit. And let us, in the circle of life, let everyone be with us in that circle. Let us bring into our heart and into our consciousness the love of God that He has for all His creations. And let us be a channel for His divine love flow through all through the day as we move from experience to experience. Thank you, Amen.
I won't mean to be empty. That is it. For me, I don't even to it's was here that
Yeah, that's how I hear it.
Would someone phone us?